I'm going to show you how to paint snow branches in front of a house. For our member of enjoyingart.com, I'm looking forward to seeing you in our fun and relaxing Friday painting together. If this is your first time to our channel, it's all about making art easy with relaxation. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notification. The color I use, there are Winsor & Newton's professional Winsor Yellow, Winsor Red, and Winsor Blue Green shade. This is calligraphy brush for details. Start the painting with the large brush. Think about how big the house you want. Should you move the house a little bit more toward the center? Or do you want to remove something on the right hand side? So you want to add something on the left hand side? All those things, it will be the first thing you need to consider. We'll just put the house right in the middle. So it's the first decision. When you do one thing, focus on that one thing. Don't get distracted. And we don't have to draw all the details. Just the big shape and the door over here, like that. And there's going to be lots of things going to come in over here to blocking in. I'm going to have the fence less straight. I'm going to have a little curve like this. You see the direction of the fence. I want it curve a little bit so the direction pointing to the main object. I'm going to use masking fluid. I'm going to use a small sable brush. Before I dip the brush into the masking fluid, I need to use the bar soap with water inside the brush before I use the brush. Otherwise, the brush, it will be turned really bad. Okay, I'm going to put it on the side. What are we going to mask about? Okay, I'm going to put this here. I like the brush to apply masking fluid because make me feel like I am actually painting. Okay, and I'm gonna mask the root top first. A little bit more water. Here you go. I'm just gonna mask it over here. Here you go. The root top right there. Look again. Like that. And I'm gonna, on this side, I'm gonna just use a very thin line and coming over here. That's good. Look again. Like that. And I have a couple shape put over there too. So if you can mask it now, you don't have to pay attention. This is good. I think the fence over here, I don't have to mask it because I can just paint it around. This is not a problem. So now I'm going to mask some branches front of the house. I'm going to just, this need to mask because otherwise it's going to take lots of effort. Okay, that I'm going to have a little bit coming down over here, and that actually make lots of sense by using masking fluid. And then on the top over here, here you go, just have a little masking and a little masking over here. Wait until dry before you start doing the painting. The first thing I'm going to do, use the 1-inch brush. So I'm going to mix a little gray color. Here we go. I'm going to get the blue color. This is a green shade, blue color. And get the red color together. Okay, just look. I'm going to mix these two colors together. It's almost look like a gray. So now, have a little red, yellow in the palette. I'm going to have a lot more water. Are you ready? Now I'm going to start over here. I'm going to do it really quick. Like this is the background. You really need to looking at a bigger relationship, not small, okay, like this. Now you see that this is the background. And here you go. Now I'm going to have a little bit more of this color coming through around it. Think about the shape of the outside, right? Think about the shape of the outside over here and the shape over here. There's the tree over here. And I'm going to leave a little bit shape for the snow effect on this tree, like that. Okay, and under over here, there is some catch the shadow. Under that, on this side, I'm gonna have a little bit brownish color. Just add a little bit red in here, a little bit yellow, a little bit red, and here you go. It's a little bit lighter color like this. I'm gonna put it a little brushes shape. That's good enough, like this. Now I'm going to just the water and soften the edge a little bit on the outside over here, so it will look a little bit kind of like a softer area. If you have it too hard of the edge, it may be take away too much attention. So give a little bit dynamic feeling, like somewhere a little bit sharper, somewhere a little bit lighter. Okay, now I'm gonna come down to the bottom over here, use the water, just make this a little bit softer, like that, because anyway, there's a nice shape, but I don't want it to stand out too much. Now here you go. I'm gonna move it up a little bit. I'm gonna remove some shape over here. And now we're gonna get to the next step, which applying the salt. Okay, and that is for the far background. That's good. Now I'm gonna applying it a little bit more evenly into the background here. So you're gonna create some interesting texture, like that. And then we're going to let it dry. While it's drying, I'm going to use the palette knife. So I'm going to do a little scratching. Let's see. You see that? You actually see a little scratching, some line like this. And then let it dry. Now the paper already dried. Now I'm going to use a piece of paper towel or the tissues. Remove their salt. Okay. Let them go, but don't move it too much because the masking fluid is still underneath. Okay. Come back with the 1-inch flat brush. Now we're working into the areas of the house. The house is much darker than the background. Okay. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take, it's a little warm gray colors. All you need to do is a warm gray or cool gray. Okay. Every color almost just the gray color. When you squint your eye, you can see the overall color of the house. It looks like a little bit blue. Just add a little blue color to it. I think that's good enough. Okay. And now I'm going to just use the corner of the brush like that. Here you go. Now you're coming up over here. And on this side, tap on it. And let's see. It looks like I should use a little bit more blue. So I'm going to get a little blue color, a little bit more blue. Here you go. I'm going to have it like that. And then coming down over here. And that window as a part of this shape. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to have this coming over here. And try to think about the shape, the form of the wall. Okay, like that. And coming over here. I want to see the whole wall as a group, as a connected. And I'm gonna coming down over here, coming like this. The door doesn't need to be that well designed. That's fine, like that. Now you can see when you squint your eye, you do see all this somehow connected, right? So I'm gonna coming over here, and now I want you to think about, is that really dark enough? And obviously, to me, it's not dark enough. So I'm going to make it darker. So I'm going to use the calligraphy brush. Now I'm going to add a little bit red and yellow color. And that make it orange with a little blue. That is the brown color I would need. I'm going to have this color like this. I'm going to put it right on the top over here. And just put it in wet into wet and let the color come in first. And then if I need to have a little bit sharper edge somewhere, and I would do that a little bit later. Okay, like that. I'm gonna have put a little color like that, and keep thinking about the bigger contrast, less about the details. The detail would be later, not really at this point. I'm going to tap and just add the color in. I'm going to try to see how the color would look overall. And now the house a lot more darker. It's more satisfied. And on this side, I'm also going to put this a little brown color over here too, like that. There's on the side over here. There's a little bit shape over there on the side, like that. And that's just good for the house. And I'll come back to do a little bit more later. But we need to take care of other places. And keep that in mind. I keep saying that don't work into the details too soon. I'm not working the details right. So I'm going to just use the corner of this brush. Now I'm going to suggest a little shape for the tree in the background over here, like that. A little few shape, that's good enough. Okay. There's a good contrast, like that. That's good. And the bottom over here, now just use a little big shape over here, catch the shadow. And that's probably good enough. And now I'm going to use the brush to soften the edge. Now at this point, it's already dry, so I'm going to come back over here with the calligraphy brush and just use this color. Squint your eye, you can see the value almost close to the house. Now I'm going to just come in over here and just put it in. Take the same color and think about the angle pointing to the house. You see that from over here? Ooh, get into the door, right? So I want it to have more emotional connection. And I'm going to have a little bit yellow because this pose is so close to us. I'm going to try to have a little bit brighter color. And so a little bit, make it more interesting because it's a foreground object, like that. And then come back with a little blue color on this side, like that. Here you go. And then the top over here, I can isolate a little shape like that and make it feel like the snow. That's good enough. Okay. I would like you to always think about shapes. Shape. And some of the feeling you're never going to forget. You don't need to worry about it. You're going to forget it. Okay, I'm going to have the top over here a little bit darker. So I'm going to drop in the color wet into wet. Let it feel like a little catch the shadow underneath. At the edge over here a little bit. Like that. That's good. Right. Now the house getting drier and drier. Now I'm gonna put a little bit kind of warmer, lighter color on the corner of the house over here. Because if I do it earlier, the color all gonna merge together. So I want to do it a little bit separate. And give a little time and let it rest. Okay, here. That's good. That's good over there. And at this point, it's still a little wet on the wall, so I'm not going to touch it to paint the door. Now I'm going to add a little shape into the house. Take a little color on the edge over here. Add a little definitions here. You can see. Like that. Add a little details. And second things, now I'm going to add a little couple shape on the edge over here. Now, coming here, I'm going to have a little big shape like that. Here you go. Make the shape coming here. And for this brush, you can push it down. You can actually make a much bigger shape. Like pushing it down like that. So not just a small brush, it's a pretty good size brush. And you can, a very good control. I'm gonna coming over here like that. Now painting around the window over here, like this. Now after you form the shape for the window, and the rest you can also to put a little darker color inside over here. It's just by draw a few lines. That's good. And so always have a way to do that more efficiently. Okay, try not to be afraid of it. So now I'm gonna just put the shape like that. Okay, use this brush sideways. You can see that like this, and now you can see a lot of interesting pattern, the shape going on the wall like that. And put a few lines and maybe a little bit somewhere, a little bit more red. Let's just add a little red color to it. And here you go, have a little red over here like that. Here you go. Now coming down on the side over here, and have a little shape going through over here like that. Here you go. Now just get a little texture. Now the house looks fine. And we're gonna come back to give even a little more to the house a little bit later after it dries. Now I'm gonna come to the post over here and add a little bit darker color, and the top over here just to catch the shadow. Right, I'm gonna add that a little bit more right under here. Just a little bit shadow like that. You go, a little line like this. I'm gonna do the door color. When you do the door, you have to squint your eye to see how dark is the door. Otherwise, the door will be too light. The door actually pretty dark, darker than most of the wall. So I'm gonna mix the red with the blue color. You see that? This is pretty dark. So every color you do, you always think about how dark is that color. Okay, don't just, oh, red, you just put the red color in, and then later you feel kind of, looks like something wrong. I don't know why and how I'm going to make it right. And most likely it's the value issues, not the color. Okay, like that. Okay, at the bottom over here, I'm going to give a little bit shape, a little light shape, and even just leave a little light shape over here. That's fine. I might want to have a little bit color, make it unflat. So I'm going to actually dropping in a little blue color. So not having it flat, even though the reference look flat, but you don't have to do that in the painting. So now I'm going to take the other color and come back over here, dropping in into the, putting somewhere on the house, on the wall. Like over here, I'm going to have a little shape like that. Is that how easy? Always start from big before smaller details. Okay, over here, add a little bit. I'm going to use this bamboo stick. I'm going to try something over here if it works. I'm just going to have some of the line, see that? Some of the line over here, it would be a little bit harder line. Okay, those line like that, and giving some noises. See that? Actually pretty nice. You always can try different tool, different process. If that work better for you, especially for you as an artist, as your personality, is that what actually makes you feel better. Okay. And I'll come back to do a little more later after I remove the masking fluid. I have a few videos showing that using the toothpicks for dry tree. You can see that in the watercolor landscape painting. Like that. Now the paper completely dry, and I'm going to use masking fluid remover. I'm going to remove the masking fluid off from the paper. You can also use your finger. If you have a lot of masking fluid on the paper, you might want to use this. Here you go. Can pick up the masking fluid much easier. Making sure it's all off. I'm gonna have a little light blue-gray color like this. Now I'm gonna painting around over here. By doing this, I'm gonna suggest the snow on top of the post. Like this. I'm gonna painting around a little bit like that. You see that? Now you're feeling the snow on top of this already. Now over here too, I'm gonna have a little bit color around on the top over here. Now here you go. Now you can feel that's the snow on the top over here. So over here, I'm gonna remove the white. Also just make it feel a little bit consistent as the background color over here too. Like that. Make it a little bit softer. Now coming to the front of the house, we need to keep a little bit softer feeling. I just put a little shape over here. Those shapes is not in the reference. I just created it. So I'm gonna have a little big shape like that and showing the snow and also seeing the background. And without some of the soft shape, the hard shape doesn't really work. So I'm gonna coming over here to just drop something in. You know you are painting the snow. Actually you're doing the shapes. Make it a little bit more abstract by thinking about the visual elements. I'm gonna come into use the calligraphy brush and I'm gonna adding some details to the trees and the house. I'm gonna start from the house. I'm going to take add a little bit more blue color to the mixture over here, make it a little bit darker. Now coming to the top over here, this already dried, so I'm gonna add a little detail to the corner over here. You always can come back to do it another round after it dries. And inside the window over here, I'm gonna have a little bit darker and have a little line coming over here like that and add a little bit darker shape like that. That's good. And here you go. Let's keep a little shape over here. Oh, now the house looks very interesting. I'm gonna have a little line over here. I'm gonna have something even a little bit darker. And now, after you have a little more details here, and the house look better. So I'm gonna have a little shape over here, a little shape over there, and the whole thing, even give a little shadow suggestions like that. Here you go. So you don't have to think it's a house either. Okay, it's just a little shape over here. And now it's a part of the whole contrast in the painting, but this is the main area of the painting. Like that. Now I'm gonna thinking about the trees. On this side, I'm gonna start from this tree. I'm gonna add a little yellow color into this. It's become the color I need. That is just the light brown color, right? Like that. I don't need lots of paint, so I let go the most of the paint. Now coming over here, let's look. Oh, I need a little bit darker. Okay, that's good. Maybe too bright. Here you go, like that. And then painting with the shape that you already reserved, the light shape, and coming over here like that. That is just the suggestions for the tree. You see that? If you do more than that, it may be a little bit too much. So that's good. It's very simple. I'm gonna get a little blue color, gray color. I'm gonna head on this side, but be a little careful how much attention direct to this area. You don't want to have too much attention. And I'm coming over here like a little line coming up like that. You can see lots of those small branches. You can use the calligraphy brush. You can do that. And every video, it seems like I'm making advertising, but you see how much I love this brush. Here you go. And I'm gonna have the, okay, I'm gonna add a little smaller shape like that. Maybe a little bit darker right over there. Now this is good. Now that tree, it looks finished. But you wanna always squint your eye. You don't want to do too much, like over here on the tree in the background. You don't want to do too much, like over here, a little bit. I'm gonna have a little bit gray color next to it. But it's already white has shape over here. If you do too much of contrast, it maybe become the focal point. But anyway, the tree is not the focal point. You know that, right? What's the focal point? The focal point is the house. Okay, now coming over here and like that, having some of the things, some noises we need it. Okay, otherwise there will be no balance. And coming over here, there is a little bit like that, and then use the same color coming down over here. There is a branch over here, and some of the things you need to keep some of the conflict to create a drama. Okay. That. Now you have some interesting conflict, or say contrast. Okay, coming down over here, that's the tree. Oh, you see how easy to create a snow tree using masking fluid. Okay, now the tree over here, I'm just going to use a little bit gray color and showing there is a little branches in the center of the tree like that, and just use a little dry brush, and that's good enough. You don't have to work too hard. Make it simple. Okay, now I'm gonna working on this tree. It's very important. And I'm gonna just also use the gray color, maybe a little bit more red mixed into this blue color like that. Okay, now take a look at the branches, and one stroke, that's good. And then on the side over here, give a little direction, like that's good. I'm gonna have it a little bit coming down, and now let's see. And this branch over here, like that. Okay, a little grade. And a little branch on the side over here. And here you go. And maybe need a little bit soft transition. So showing some snow. Over here have the shadow. You okay? Now I'm going to have a little tree coming on the side over here too. Okay, coming up over here. Okay, have some line. Here you go. And when you draw the tree, the dry trees, you need to draw a little bit slower. If you draw too fast, a little bit too straight, too slit, and need to be slowly, draw them slowly, follow through. Okay, like that. And I'm going to come in here to see this a little small tree, and maybe it could curve a little bit, like that. A little curve, but you don't want it to be showing as a focal point. Anyway, it's an interest and somewhere to create a nice noises or part of the interesting composition, but you don't want to make it like it become the thing that you must look at the first place. Okay, this a little bit darker. Here you go. Before I have this calligraphy brush, the toothpick, that will be my choice. Now I have this, and definitely would use the brush for all the line. It gets so easy to draw the line. And I have this coming through over here. You see that? I can make it a little bit darker, like that. Here you go. Coming all the way on this side. Here you go, like this. Have a little bit red. Okay, that's very nice. Okay, now come to this tree. Now I'm gonna come here to take a look at. On this side, it have some no snow cover area. See that? That's nice. Like that. Here you go. Now, seeing with the little dark color next to it, and the people can sense it and say, oh, that is right. This must be part of it covered by the snow. Like that. And a little white shape over here next to it. Just have a little shadow. Like that. A little bit. That's good. And now add some smaller line. So thicker line, smaller line is just nice composition. Right. So slowly the painting come together. But the contrast need to obey some kind of planning and design. Okay. And the corner of the house. And now take a look at some of the line. And some line over here. Okay. Yeah, some interesting noises coming over. A little bit in the front over here, showing there is some shadow of the branch, the snow. Is some like this. Okay, I'm gonna come back even darker color to the house. Get the blue color with the red, and you can get the darkest color that you need in the whole world. Okay, I'm gonna make this even darker on the window over here. Okay, that's good. A little bit corner over here, even darker. A few lines, few small shapes like that. That's good. And the edge over here, now I can come back to make it even darker, so the house will stand out as the main object. Okay, a little bit darker. Okay. You have the tool, but you need to practice it. Okay. Also, a little gray color over here showing the corner of the house. And then this painting is finished.